Okay, let's get into it.
Uh-huh.
كده القيادة يا مبنى الأمن الإيران في كل حتة.
Okay. On the 15th of April, 2023, fighting between the Sudanese armed forces and the Rapid Support Forces broke out across Sudan.
This
with
is
fighting
good.
reported at the presidential
This is
palace.
good.
Yeah, like he's just reading the first line of the Wikipedia. That's
I mean,
why what's great about like the beginning of our episode.
I always forget
listen,
that he reads the Wikipedia articles.
Listen,
well,
I
do too.
At least he's backtracking properly. You know what I mean? Wikipedia article or not, he's backtracking.
At the beginning of our episode, we have a whole like joke about Wikipedia. Because I was like, bro, just read the first line of the Wikipedia to intro it. And Jack was like, I'm not plagiarizing Wikipedia. And I'm like, it doesn't count if it's Wikipedia. It's not plagiarizing if it's Wikipedia. Like, there's that entire argument in the beginning of ours. I cut it down to like
we need to clip it. We need to clip that thing. The RSF headquarters. Okay, the Sudanese armed forces. I can take an easy guess at what they are. Hate their logo.
Let's talk about this logo.
I don't mind it. This isn't bad. I mean, you know, you would think they have, you know, better money for a logo. They would have a better design crew. But my friend pointed this out once.
My issue is this a fish hook? Where is there water in Sudan?
No,
I guess the Nile. The Nile River.
That's an anchor. I guess that's for like the Navy. That's really fucked
They're
up
a landlocked country, though. It's got to be a fish hook, right? Come on. I think this is supposed to be like a land, sea, and air thing, but like if that's an anchor, where are you anchoring in Sudan?
In the Nile, obviously.
Don't they have a coastline?
The Rapid Support Forces,
they're landlocked.
however,
I'm pretty sure.
A Sudanese paramilitary.
They have to. Their oil pipelines go up to the Red Sea. So
okay.
I think
so they would probably have.
No,
they're not landlocked. They have.
They go to the. Do they reach the Red Sea?
Yes.
Okay. I wasn't sure. Okay. Djibouti was there or not.
Yeah, Djibouti is
W
down under Eritrea.
for Ace Report.
Force.
Ace Report gets one right for once.
Government. The RSF grew out of and is primarily composed of the Janjaweed militias, which fought.
Click it, Vaush. Click the Janjaweed. Learn what they are. I'm hoping he thinks that this name is silly and wants to read more about them, and then he's like, "Holy shit,
and
these guys are horrible." Yeah, like that's my goal right now. Come on, man.
Fought on behalf of the Sudanese government during the war in Darfur, killing and raping civilians and burning their houses. That is an unusually direct statement for a Wikipedia summary right at the beginning of the article. The RSF's actions.
It's direct because it's very true and well documented.
Yeah, and that's the thing is
it's
like,
direct because it's like there's no need to beat around the bush here.
And that's why I've always had it at the front of our reporting is like who these guys are. Also, let's talk about the RSF logo.
It kind of looks like the IRGC.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of got like the Iraqi nationalist look to it as well. Like,
yeah,
when the resistance groups were like making their own logos, they're about this quality.
It looks about like your every Arab nation has like a very typical looking like it's like the West African nations. We all kind of have.
I would like to see more incorporation of ponies in it. Like I like that they have their cavalry saber, and that it's showing that they've come from arrow to bullets, you know. But I would like to see ponies in this. I think that they should have ponies.
Horses and
camels.
Are
all the flags in that area red, white, and black?
Yeah, that's like kind of like the Arab nationalist colors.
Red, white, black, and green.
Yeah,
interesting.
Because
I just realized I'm like
all the African colors are like similar too. There's the African colors.
Yeah, red, yellow, and green.
Yeah, so there's also like a lot of flags are themed like that. We're like the odd ones out.
If you were like ever one of those kids who was autistically obsessed with flags growing up, Kuwait, Sudan, and Palestine tripped you the fuck up for sure.
That's pretty funny. Although I wouldn't say we're odd ones out
The thing is
either.
with Sudan, I just always assume it's Palestine. Because it's like normally people aren't flying Sudanese flags, so it's like it's one of those things where it's like a product of kind of like just being so stimulated with one specific one that you like get used to it and you don't even like see the differences. It just blends into the background because there's so much.
Shout out the Sudanese diaspora. Very very polite people. Really really good people, frankly.
And
not if you ask the Australian media.
Oh my God.
According to the Human Rights Watch. Okay, well,
yo, fuck the Australian media.
Oh, you didn't click the Janjaweed. Come on, man. See, that's the thing is that the silly name, he lost focus in the silly name and didn't see that because immediately after that, it's like, yeah, these people are violent rapist murderers. And you forget that they're a silly name called the Janjaweed.
Okay, so if I understand this correctly, this is a battle between the current Sudanese military forces, which are de facto in charge of the country, and representatives of the old government of Sudan, which oversaw what happened in Darfur and the split between Sudan and South Sudan. Is that correct? Who are the least bad guys here? I think there might actually be
he's close,
no good guys
and I can understand where he's getting there.
Wait. Former Sudanese President Omar
There are
al-Bashir
no good. The least bad guys. He's kind of going down the wrong hole where he's like, who's the least evil?
Yeah,
bro.
Well, that was his
forget
chat.
all that shit.
Yeah, that was his chat who asked that. But
before
that, he was assuming that the RSF Janjaweed were loyal to the last government. But the thing is this is the same military as that last government as well. You know, like both of them worked for the last government. And that's the thing is like you're close. They're not loyal to the past government. It's like it's as long as if you can figure out that they're like an IRGC or a Wagner or a Hezbollah or that type of force, you know, if you can figure that out, you can start to piece together what's going on.
Over a destructive conflict in the south of the country, which resulted in the cessation of South Sudan in 2011. He oversaw state-sponsored violence in the western region of Darfur, leading to war crimes and genocide. After being ousted in 2019 revolution, convicted of corruption and other offenses.
2019 revolution, man. Click it.
The military seized power from an interim unity government headed by Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok in a coup in October.
Don't be distracted by 2021. Okay. Click 2019.
So let's follow this together. A bad guy, Omar al-Bashir, who has done many bad things, okay, headed a coup and took control in 2021. Amidst an economic crisis,
Omar al-Bashir
authority to a civilian government with
out
a formal agreement scheduled on April 6th.
He'll probably catch himself later and put it back together. It's okay.
So okay.
No, you're almost there. Read the next paragraph, bro.
Al-Bashir was ousted in 2019.
None of this matters.
Okay, the military wasn't operating under Omar al-Bashir.
Yes, they were.
Right. So the military seized power. Yeah, the military couped the bad guy. Okay, so we need good guy, bad guy policy. Okay? The military ousted the bad guys.
Stop with this good guy, bad guy shit. Stop.
Agreed to hand over authority to a civilian-led government.
Pause it. The military screwed over a people's revolution in 2019.
Well, specifically, it was Janjaweed, and like, I insert footage of them killing people in our video. Like you can see, and also the video that I was trying to get was so distressing because there's actually a great BBC thing because Sudan is a modern country, so there's hundreds, thousands of videos from the 2019 massacre. Right, more videos are coming out like every day. We keep finding more. BBC did a total. They hired a bunch of journalists and they put all the videos together to make a cohesive picture of the events that took place. We did the same thing with Euromaidan back in the day. Like my bullet wound stuff was like big for that. And so they go through and they piece this entire story together, headed by BBC, and they show everything. But the thing is like there's one piece that I was trying to grab, but it's sometimes hard to get a video offline. They have a girl. And you know what's going to happen next. And that's kind of how it ends, you know? And like you can see her face and the distressing look on her face. But I think I went with stuff where they're like stomping on people's faces while they're on the ground, but it's like their faces are blurred, so it's not that bad. But I totally did put people dying in our video to like really drive home how serious this shit was. 2019. So Sudan, again, modern country. Imagine like if like just the fucking like the state just fucking bombed something in your neighborhood. How crazy that would be.
Yeah, it would be insane.
Like people think that the Darfur war, like it's such a big country that these people didn't even see violence until 2019. And it's similar kind of in Syria, where it's like nobody really expected Assad to react the way he did.
By these people, you're talking about the people in Khartoum, yeah? Just so we can establish that.
Yeah, the people in the capital.
Okay.
Yeah, not because like Darfur is going on, but like it's so detached from your day-to-day life, you know. Journalists can't even get there. It took so long for journalists to get in there. It's insane. And like there's like Nat Geo guys who like got like arrested for trying to sneak into the country to go through like Chad or something. Really crazy time.
That's pretty
formal agreement that was like a week ago. However, the agreement was delayed for unclear reasons amid tensions between rival military leaders, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and Rapid Support Forces Commander General Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, better known as Hemedti. They are chairman and deputy of the Transitional Sovereignty Council, respectively. On April 11th, RSF forces deployed near the city of Meroe as well as Khartoum. Government forces ordered them to leave, but they refused. Clashes began. Okay, so confirmed. There are no good guys here.
Yes!
Hey!
It is literally just a power struggle between different groups of bad. The RSF are aligned with Wagner for whatever that's worth.
Don't get distracted with it, bro. Don't get distracted with it.
Wagner is aligned with the people who are responsible for the Darfur massacre. That's crazy. Sudan, the Wagner RSF ties that block the path to democratization. Well, look at that. They sure do have a lot of presence in Africa, don't they? A map of the conflict. We have a map already?
That's a very interesting point to hear from him.
Yeah, so I guess in the grand scheme of things, we can say the RSF are the worst bad guys here. Wagner owns
there's actually great drone footage here where you can actually see the first day of battle. We have that in our video as well, the drone footage, where it really gives you an outlook of the thing. What's really interesting is like the RSF headquarters and what they look like now. Like I'm surprised the building's still standing. It's insane how much they've destroyed it.
Gold mine in Sudan now?
Yes. Okay. Don't get distracted by Wagner stealing the gold, though. Make the link to Hemedti.
So the Wagner probably don't want. So the Wagner have a stake in this as well, because if the RSF bungle this coup, they'll probably lose their whole.
Not a coup.
Not a coup.
Gold mine, right? I can't imagine this fighting will last long.
Yes.
How many people are in the RSF? Oh wait, never mind. 100,000.
Some of them are still in Darfur,
that's a large paramilitary. Yeah, according to Reuters, as of 2023, the force number is 100,000 people. That is a lot of people.
How many people are in Wagner?
That's a good question.
Because like I said that Sudan is more powerful than Wagner, but RSF might be as well. Wagner probably has the tactical advantage.
I'm going to go ahead and Wagner. I'm going to go ahead and say it's no less than 10,000 and no more than 50,000.
You have different gear though.
Here,
you know,
Wagner has 50,000 fighters, 10,000 contractors, and 40,000 convicts.
So how much?
Realistically, they have 10,000. Realistically, they have 10,000.
How much did we just say the RSF had it? 200?
100,000. Double.
200,000 or 100,000?
100.
Yeah. And like also and as well, a lot of those are in Darfur, but there's a lot of these guys, yeah. And like all of them, like it's probably like how many fucking Toyotas per person? Like one Toyota, 3 people.
Yeah,
3 to 1 Toyota ratio, probably.
something like that. Warlocks.
Cool. An estimated 2.5 million people were displaced and 300,000 killed in the conflict.
Look. He's got it right now. He's highlighting it. Reuters calls it a coup, though. This is a bad source.
Reuters.
But he's got it. He's yeah, I know. I like to say it wrong. But see, he's got it right here. He's gonna see that they evolved from Janjaweed, and hopefully he'll make the connection again here that it's the same thing.
Sheesh.
I guess
The
we'll see.
ICC prosecutors accused government officials and Janjaweed command. I cannot take the term
Yes!
Janjaweed seriously. Of genocide, war crimes, and crimes.
Click on it, bro. Go more into Janjaweed.
Screw use and border guards as parents. You would think that just once, maybe like out of sheer coincidence or happenstance, the Russians would support the good guy in a conflict. Just like
No
like
good guys,
accidentally
though.
once. But they just never seem to. An emergency signal went off on one of the Ukrainian planes of Sudan. The crew members are in contact with the Skype carrier company. Emergency radio boy.
None of this
36 fire
matters.
police in
None of this
Sudan.
matters.
There's
All
a
planes
Ukrainian
got
plane
diverted.
in Sudan.
Everyone's in
Embassy of Egypt,
Sudan.
the honorary consulate in Sudan, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Ukraine, the Canadian Force. The crew of the Boeing 737 was held hostage. The plane itself was engaged. These are civilians? That fucking sucks.
Yes.
I would simply not go to Sudan, personally. Vaush, in 2015, Obama enforced U.S. sanctions on Sudan for the 18th consecutive year as part of a strategy to maintain Sudan in political and economic isolation. Yeah, I don't really think that's going to work here. The problem is that, like, first of all, we don't have any reason to believe that sanctioning a country will make them more progressive or whatever, or even collapse a regime. But in this case, us embargoing...
That's not what they're about.
Okay, hit the pause button right here.
That they...
To be fair, what you just said about like making a country more progressive, while Hamdok was in power, briefly, he did pass some legislation lifting the ban on alcohol. I believe something to do. I think he made it so it wasn't illegal to, like, legislatively speaking, for whatever you take it for, to be like gay in the country. He did some shit where it was like he loosened some legislations. He got rid of Sharia courts.
Why are you gay?
In Sudan as well. Sudan had those for a long time. So he did that basically for the purpose of like getting sanctions taken off the country.
We have to keep our country gay.
They try to shack up with countries like Russia, you know? I don't know if that
And China.
works.
And China.
Woo, that's low flying.
And like, just imagine this, right? Like, these people have not like probably even seen like military jets like above them most of the time. Like, have you seen the helicopter fleets that they've deployed?
I was
like,
surprised that
rocketing
Sudan had
buildings?
planes.
Yeah, they got.
I didn't realize.
The helicopter.
No, like I genuinely wasn't sure whether they had an air force or not.
Yeah, there's just like tons of videos.
Oh, they
of these
do.
rockets
They do.
hitting buildings from their helicopters. And actually,
They have MiGs, bro.
Janjaweed took down
Fuck
one
yeah.
helicopter.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, I saw.
They got
one
stingers?
Go down. No. Who knows how it went down? But the thing is that also it's helicopters crash all the time.
Yes.
They have like some sort of anti-aircraft missiles they can attach to the back of trucks and stuff. I think that would be my
like
main
blowpipes
suspect.
and China sells them all their guns, so anything China has that they'll probably be able to have access to. So we haven't seen a lot of like I noticed that you don't see a lot of RPGs, is what was curious to me.
Interesting. I wonder why. Maybe they've evolved beyond it. Maybe because it's not as open. It's a not as desirable weapon.
Well, I think that they're more of like a modern military, and they have probably like rocket crews. Because I actually did find because I said that there was probably rocket artillery, and I did find Janjaweed using some rocket artillery. And so like most of them are like going to be on the Toyotas though, and but they definitely. I'm not sure if they're like equipped, because if you think about the targets they are fighting, it's not tanks. Like they were never trained to fight tanks, so they may just have less anti-tank crews, because we mostly see the RSF because they're like actually using social media a lot more with it. Like the dude is like, also his accounts are managed in the UAE. Hemetis are managed in the UAE.
Interesting.
Yeah, we looked into that.
But yeah, maybe because the RPGs are generally anti-tank things.
Yeah,
because it's basically a shape charge on a rocket.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
RPGs are so sick.
I don't think they have a lot of anti-tank weapons.
Yeah, maybe that's just what it is.
But also, there's something like evidence where they may have been supplied with like some type of missile. Alec posted about it. I'll look it up when I hit play.
Yeah.
That's a MiG. What is that? A MiG 29? Yeah.
Nailed it, sir.
That would be definitely loud, right? A jet flying right over? Yeah.
Incredibly loud.
It's hard to tell how fast it's going because of the video, but yeah, that'd be pretty fucking loud.
It's going very slow.
I wonder what kind of military.
What, you need something?
Huh?
You need something? I'm just.
I said the MiG was going very slow.
I mean, we're probably like, it's Sudan, right? They're probably just dealing with a bunch of Cold War leftovers.
No,
I don't know how much they actually.
Modern military, bro. Modern military. One of the biggest in Africa. Huge country, bro. Very powerful. Enough to export force, and they use the RSF just like Wagner. They export force in countries where it's taboo. They have black operations. These are some serious military dudes.
Yeah, most like old Soviet shit.
MiG-29s are not old Soviet
I think
shit.
I think it's also important to note that in Sudan during the summer, they like June or July-ish, they deployed troops to a disputed region that they have with Ethiopia. I think they call it El Farshaga. I think that's what it's called.
that was, and Sudan is wrapped up in the Tigray conflict as well.
Yeah, and they deployed.
The dictator of Eritrea also backs Janjaweed.
They deployed troops to that disputed region as recently as like June or July. So they get around.
So, right here, this is.
Why would the Eritrean dictator back Janjaweed?
Because I think it's more of like old school like African Arab conflicts that go a little bit further back. And since he's like from like a tribal region, they might have like different trusts with him. And also probably to oppose Ethiopia, which is more friendly with the military. But anyway, Alec, Wagner expert. So this is at best potential evidence that Wagner might be supplying rapid support force with surface-to-air missiles. So, however, this should not be used as evidence that Russia is responsible for causing the conflict to erupt. And then I also shared that and just was like, yep, good, responsible reporting. That's what's up. But also, there may have been airdrops. So we have planes that take off from Libya, and they monitored their location and figured that they might have done airdrops. There's also an airstrip in the corner of Sudan up where Libya is, and we think Haftar may have also moved supplies through there. But what I said is that they already buy their weapons from Russia. There's like, why shouldn't Russia be able to, use armed contracts? If they're buying guns, Russia should be able to deliver the guns. Maybe the U.S. shouldn't have sanctioned them and actually been doing business with them, and they wouldn't be buying Russian and Chinese guns. Most of their shit is Chinese, though. Also, we saw potential. They said it was either like the Iranian surface, like the cruise missiles, not the ones that are in Ukraine, but the older ones that are actually missile shaped. They said it was either that or Chinese, and I'm like, bro, it's probably the Chinese one. Like, I don't know much about weapons or anything like that, but I don't know about any Iranian sales to Sudan.
Yeah, it makes much more sense that it would be from China.
Yeah, like China sells them all their shit. All their rifles are Chinese.
وهناك صور أيضا للطائرات العسكرية الرابضة في هذا المطار، ومن الواضح جدا أن قوات الدعم السريع قد تسيطر.
I understand all of these words.
وأحكم سيطرتها فعلا مطار.
Don't listen to the words, look at the body language, you'll figure it out.
مدينة. نشاهد في أثناء حديثك أيضا.
See, they even did a circle there. They showed the flag at the back, but it was moving too fast. If he goes back and he pauses and he looks at the tail, he'll realize it's an Egypt plane.
Yeah. Also, how sick is the shape of the
What are they
MiGs?
trying to achieve? It looks like the RSF wants to prevent the handover of power to a civilian government.
Correct. Not a coup.
Mm-hmm.
Great job.
It seems so. The Wagner aligned militia that was the most hardline, like ultra nationalist military.
No. So this is the thing: is they were actually, like, when I was reporting on them, they were turning against the government, and like that was the whole thing. Is that the government, because they know that they will be prosecuted for war crimes if they're ever like not needed. Yeah. So they are very interested in making sure they always have a role in Sudan, because they already helped the last guy go down and get prosecuted for war crimes. So it's a lot deeper than that.
Or paramilitary faction does not want power given over to the civilian population. They don't want any kind of democratization. Vermari Airport. Khartoum Airport having been seized by the RSF. Do the Sudanese armed forces even have a chance here? How many do they have?
Yes.
Active personnel, 109,000.
Go to military firepower, bro.
Forces of an estimated 17,000. I don't know this for sure, but I have a feeling that the RSF is going to win this. I don't know. That kind of seems like the course of history here. The RSF with Wagner backing, I feel like they wouldn't have done this if they didn't think they could win. The RSF has taken Egyptian soldiers hostage. Wait, really? Does
Egypt
back the transition to the civilian government? Soldiers?
Weren't they? They were pilots, right?
Whoa. Wait. Where is Egypt aligned on this?
Whoa.
I love it. Hit the pause button.
I love it how this is turning out.
Egypt is aligned with the Sudanese government because Egypt sells them, the Egyptian government, the Egyptian armed forces supplies them with these MiGs and a lot of other weaponry. So they're there training Sudanese forces on how to use them, basically, and helping out with maintenance and repairs that the MiGs might need. On top of that, Egypt and Sudan have kind of had a military alliance since Bashir was booted out, because Bashir, I think around 2013, kind of became like pretty anti-Egyptian. Like, not like in a discriminatory sense, in a governmental sense. He didn't want like Egyptian interference or whatever. And so, yeah, there's been a contingent of Egyptian forces, mostly the Air Force, in Sudan, because they need people to train them on these weapons, to train them how to use these planes, to help out with repairs. So yeah, that's just like, I don't know why this is seen as like so crazy. I feel like it's kind of typical.
It's pretty standard, yeah.
Yeah, like it's like they're gonna take and again, taking Egyptian hostages gives them leverage. I don't imagine they're gonna try and hurt any of them. They've already established this, that they want to hand them over to Egypt as soon as possible. At least like John Jaweed leadership has established this. They're like, listen, we don't want a problem with Egypt. We don't want anyone going crazy and sending in troops. I don't think Egypt wants that either. John Jaweed has like assured them like no one's gonna get hurt, no one's gonna be harmed. We're gonna send them back to Egypt as soon as possible. And as far as I know, Cairo sent diplomats over there to kind of
their firepower score is 4.1. That's extremely high. That's an extremely high power score, right? And just at a glance, like right here, look at their manpower. Their manpower is insane. Like that's a big military.
Yeah, I don't know where people are getting this idea that this is some, again, we've been over this before, but I don't get where people are getting this idea that it's some like ooh, ooga booga African conflict. Like it's not.
It's frustrating because people really want to understand it, and it's really, really simple to understand if you just know about Sudan. And that's the thing is like you jump in and the thing is that Sudan isn't connected when you talk about like polarity, like Sudan isn't connected to Western polarity at all. You know? Like we have like some oil contracts, probably some like internationals, because you have people who repatriated from the genocide. So we have a lot of Sudanese citizens. But like as far as American interests in Sudan, so it's one of the countries you don't hear about because it's not an American interest, It's more of like an Egypt interest, and like Egypt, we're cool and work with Egypt through it,
That's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like, the people have more to gain if Sudan stays okay. Like China and Russia are more likely to intervene to stop shit because it's like they don't want to lose money. It's like war is a racket, sure, but like come on, we don't want Sudan to fall apart. That's going to be like, like there's a lot of contracts to be made there with a lot of resources that people need.
There's a lot of issues, yeah. Also, this video is interesting. In particular, this video you see in a minute, there's like a plainclothes what is it, Egyptian soldier who's like, you'll see him, he's in like a polo. He's like, he goes, listen, I'm an officer. So
yeah,
if you want to take someone, take me. Like this guy right here.
They're a big ally to Sudan.
In the video later,
they're a big ally to Sudan, but to the democracy.
No. The guy in the front.
This one, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
This looks pretty
like,
plain as well, but it's hard to tell.
Yeah. In the video, he goes like, "Take me, I'm an officer." Like, because it seems like they're trying to like talk to whoever's in charge, basically.
Yeah, and also like when we're talking about like prisoners and stuff, like really the only thing that really matters is the officers in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
It depends on who's holding you hostage, of course.
Yeah, it does. But I think John Dewey is being smarter about this hostage situation than people realize. Like they're not gonna like start putting bullets in Egyptian soldiers. It's not a great look.
If anything, they probably have like advisors.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
it's not like truth overthrow, but like how not to fuck up. They're probably being advised by certain parties, especially like UAE.
Yeah, that's another good point.
That Egypt would have aligned with the RSF and with the Wagner backing, that they would have like gone with the coup forces. Wouldn't this just set? I feel like the Egyptians would have backed the RSF, allied to the military.
No, they wouldn't have.
The RSF captured these soldiers. Egypt is playing it like Yugoslavia right now. Vaush, no, Egypt won.
Who in the chat said Egypt is playing it like Yugoslavia? What does that mean?
They're definitely not.
What exactly does that mean, though?
I don't. I think what they're trying to
that
say
could mean a lot of things.
It can mean a lot of things, but it sounds like what they're trying to say is it's in Egypt's best interest that somehow Sudan splinters, which I don't see. Like that's how I took it, but I don't see how that's like
Sudan already splintered.
Yeah, it's not in their best interest. That means there's more people to deal with, like more parties to deal with south of the border. They probably rather deal with one party south of the border than multiple.
Yeah.
Friendly governments for Nile access. So maybe the RSF would be too xenophobic to like deal fairly. They want a stable government. They want a civilian government. This is weird. This is the kind of stuff that'll probably cause the RSF to lose. Yeah, if they were going to succeed in this coup, guys, it's
coup though. We don't know what their objectives actually are.
It's right there. Guys, it's right here. If you were leading a Sudanese coup, if you were a hardline ultranationalist far-right paramilitary group trying to coup Sudan, I would think the first thing that I would want to do is not piss Egypt off by capturing their soldiers. I mean,
I don't think Egypt is pissed off. The way he's been handling
No,
it, I think
no,
I think
no.
he
I don't
expected
think
this shit to
they're.
go down.
Yeah, it's either they expected it or they don't want to like do anything to like further fuck it up. Yeah, no, I don't think anyone's really ticked off in this scenario. They're like, it's more like, listen, return our soldiers home like buyer before Eid, and we won't have a problem. And John Jaweed seems to be like perfectly okay with that. They're like, yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
and the UN is really focused on that evac being in the next 3 days being taking place, and also
Yeah.
the civilians, right? That's the most interesting part to me, is because like whenever I see civilians talk about it, they just know exactly what's going on. Just just not taking sides. You would expect a lot of information warfare stuff, like how Russia gets funky with stuff and makes like fake people who loyal to this and loyal to that. Everyone's like, fuck both of those guys. Fuck them both. This is all their fault. We're stuck inside because of both of them. Fuck both of them. And
And that's by the way, that is the correct response from like the Sudanese people. Like it's
yeah,
why
it's been
why would you
inspiring
why
to me. I'm so
neither of
jealous of it
these
in a way.
like why would you give a fuck about either of these people? Like I don't know. Yeah.
And that's the thing is like if 2019 didn't happen, there might be some sort of like illusion that the RSF could pull, that they're actually like of the people, because he's like, it's the proletariat thing. He's like, dude probably can't even read.
I don't know.
Yeah,
That's I
it's
don't
the
know.
Arab, it's the
After
Arab
listening to
tribal
Lions
guy.
Led by Donkeys,
But
it's obvious
at the
the
same
militaries
time,
don't
it's
often
like,
make the most
yeah, it's
logical
well
decisions.
known that they're not. Never mind. Keep the video
RSF is
rolling.
literally like a ragtag paramilitary group. Not ragtag, I guess, but like they're definitely not as organized and well regulated as a normal military. And normal militaries still make a fuckload of mistakes. This might cause Ethiopia to back the RSF because Egypt and Ethiopia hate each other. Yeah, but Egypt is so strong.
They don't hate each other. There's just, listen.
I say it loud and clear. They'll blow up that dam.
You need to stop trying to simplify it. You can't
in the region.
cheat your way around these
total military
things.
personnel for Egypt.
So it's just the dam. It's just the dam.
2/3 of a million, 685,000. Egypt has the 14th strongest military in the world because they spend all their money on it. Yeah, the U.S. gave Egypt Abrams. Really? Wait, this is recent. No, wait. Egypt and U.S. resume co-production of M1A1 Abrams. Egypt continues to produce locally M1A1. Oh my God, I didn't realize. The U.S. back. No, I know we backed the Egyptian.
That's all thanks to Sadat right there. If those accords didn't go in place with Sadat back in the day, with peace with Israel, those tanks would not be in Egypt.
Bada bing, bada boom. Mustache man with the pipe gets it done.
One day you can go from quoting Hitler, the next day, savior of the Jews. Amazing. Anyone can be redeemed.
Dictator. I just didn't realize that we were letting them produce our tanks. Egypt's have been having Abrams. They're outdated. We're on the M2. Okay, sure, we're on the M2, but the M1s are still.
We have Jews.
Still really good, Yeah, I guess, man, the decision to antagonize Egypt by capturing their soldiers in the first day of the coup seems really fucking dumb. I don't know. They're export variants, so they're still shitty without the proper armor. Yeah, but compared to what the Sudanese paramilitary forces would have.
I would say the main reason they are here is because they're human shields.
What armor do they even have? Okay, the Sudanese armed forces. This isn't the paramilitary group. These are the quote unquote good guys in this conflict.
If anyone in Vaush's fans see this, Please just make him use this website, the Global Firepower website. Whenever you're looking up militaries, it gives you gamer stats and all that stuff. It's so much better.
Gamer stats.
It's so much better. Did you see the pie chart I pulled up? Great website. And like you can go really in depth. They break it down. They talk about like the attack patterns that they have, the training level that they have. You know, so much better than this. This is just going to tell you like they have some tanks here and some tanks there.
Not really, you know, but whatever. Sudan limited arms industry. Standard issue battle rifles now the Heckler & Koch G3. Oh God, what a classic!
Based.
Joining the Sudanese paramilitaries just so that we can have some
Coming
shiny
up in our
war
gun
era.
tier list.
This is kind of outdated. They don't really use these anymore. This is like more Janjaweed shit.
Firearms for standard issue, the classics, yeah. Yeah, the IISS 2007 had 200 T-54 main battle tanks. Hey, these are the ones that that Russia has been pulling out. 70 Type 62 light tanks. This was 360. Al-Bashir licensed version of the Type 85 tanks. The IISS reported 218 armored cars. 218.
He just jumped over the Chinese type tanks. Chinese Type 98 tanks have also been known to serve. Missed it.
Armored cars?
These are by far and away Sudan's most powerful tanks, the Chinese ones. He missed it. Jumped right over it.
That's probably less than like a single state guard in the United States. Here they are in the streets today, by the way. Oh boy. Yeah, those are tanks.
Bro, if you look at this video, there's literally like a guy on a scooter here, dude just like on the side of the street, like just like waiting to cross the street, and like tanks are rolling up. Like this is like, imagine this like just happening in your town. Like bonkers. This guy is on like a mobility scooter, I think. It's not even like a I think this is like a disability mobility scooter.
Mobility scooter.
I'm dead serious. If it doesn't loop again, I'll go back.
Yeah, they do be rolling.
Hang on. Look at that.
Yeah, they do be rolling.
You're
The
definitely right
IISS
about that Type
2011
96
Sudan
tank. Those
has
things are
740
fucking
artillery
massive.
systems, including schools. Okay, this isn't a lot. T-72 main battle tanks, FB-6 aimable air defense, 9K 33 OSINs, and WS-1, WS-2 MRLS have been spotted in the Sudanese. Okay, what about what about the RSF? Hold on, I don't know what they have. RSF equipment. Sudan.
They have camel.
I don't know. I mean,
They
it's
have horse.
probably reasonable to assume they have comparable equipment. Militia, the Rapid
We
Support
have
Forces.
horse.
An apparently genuine RSF spreadsheet shows how they bought over 1,000 vehicles, including hundreds of Toyota
Yes!
pickup trucks, which the
Yes!
militia converted to
A
armed technicals.
spreadsheet, like an Excel
Bro,
spreadsheet.
Bro, look, it said they bought over 1,000.
An
What's the
like a
Toyota to
whole-
person ratio? What did I say
I'm-
before? How close
It's
to
10
it?
to 1. 10 to 1
I'm
Toyota to
still-
person.
That's
still hu-
there's got to be more Toyotas than that.
I'm still hung up on the fact that they're saying a spreadsheet. Like you're telling me, like these Janjaweed guys were using Excel spreadsheets. What the fuck?
Yeah, financial. No, I mean, do you see how nice their office was before they bombed it with all those MiGs?
Just
I
on
know,
a
it's
Dell
like,
desktop.
it's like, bro, this is that Arab elite coming through right here. You're like, whoa, you mean they can do math? Come on, man.
You mean they can do math? I don't know, just something about a guy who's like probably fought in some crazy ass battles in Darfur doing a
Bruh.
spreadsheet. Just crack. Look, even American military members doing spreadsheets. Just the idea of it just cracks me up. It's like you're in the armed forces. What the fuck are you doing spreadsheets
What if he
for?
clicks one of these red links and it brings up Google Sheets?
Hey, technicals. Yeah. Toyota HX Warfare. Yeah, they're literally just like welding LMGs to the back of the pickup.
No, they're
truck and
heavy
driving
machine
around.
guns. They're dushkas.
Yo, bro, look down here. It says, it is possible to document, though that it is too good to be true. After all, leaked financial information for the militaries and paramilitary groups are extremely rare. One of the few examples known to global witness is this analysis, drawing on captured documents of the forces of Al-Qaeda in Iraq in 2005 and 2006. The violent jihadi group led by Zarqawi. Could the document be part of something, probably a misinformation campaign? Why do we think this spreadsheet is genuine? Because it's so rare to find these spreadsheets is basically what they're saying. Like, the only one on this level was when we captured it from fucking Zarqawi himself.
And yeehawing
This is probably like that Hassan Galu level grab right here.
way across the desert. Toyota pickup trucks are insanely OP in desert
Yes.
areas. Well, yeah, aren't technicals like really fucking common in Africa? Because the problem with like proper military vehicles, in addition to them being really expensive, is the fact that it's just really difficult to navigate desert environments with them. They tend to clog
I
up.
think also what should be considered is also like history behind this. Like, these regions in Africa always had cavalry, and we're talking to like ancient times. Like, they knew where China was ancient times, when they just were, you know, any place that has domestic camels, they probably knew about in Sudan at ancient times. Nubia was a trade like empire, and so these people have such a history of cavalry, you know, and like they might be upgraded to Toyotas and stuff, but like it's still similar strategies, you know. It's the way you use cavalry has evolved, but like that's the thing, is that there's a real strong, rich history behind all of this. It's not just like they're good for a desert environment. It's also the wielders of them. You know, they're kind of like spec'd for it.
Up, and they're expensive and difficult to repair, and they're slow. But then you get out there with like a pickup truck, and it's like, okay, yeah, it could just drive across the desert, and you just have an LMG on the back, and you know, it's not like anything out there is fielding heavy armor, so most of the shit you come across, you'll be able to just shoot with the technical, and you know, you're fine. RSF check section 2 for equipment and firing. Man, I love these hats. A lot of people here. Who the fuck are you? Who's this fucking kid? Look, everyone else here. Well, not everyone, I guess, but most of the other people here, you know, like we're all sharing. Like, is this dude a genocidal military leader? Hell yeah, I believe it. Doesn't even iron his fucking flags. This guy, hell yeah, with his iPhone 5 or whatever. Yeah. Does this guy kill innocents? Yeah, sure, I believe it. This guy, hell.
What he missed is that guy had two phones in his hands. One was an old phone that's less traceable, and the other one was a smartphone that had like the wallet on the back. You know how it's like that smartphone and wallet combination? Two phones. You're looking at the wrong hand, my guy. He looked at his right hand.
Two phones.
Oh yeah, this guy loves killing innocents. And you scroll down, and then look at this dude. Who are you? You're a podcaster. Who are you? This fucking Andrew Tate fan. Who are you? Lieutenant Habib Adam Hissa. Okay, sure, yeah.
This picture is my soul, bro.
That's such
hilarious.
a funny picture to pick. What the fuck?
It's just a mirror selfie.
Bro, there's like he's there. There's like photo lights in the background. Like a professional photographer was on scene, and this is what we got. He did.
This is probably like a graduation photo.
All right, Lieutenant. This guy looks like the Giga Chad. Kind of. It really is funny though. I mean, this is kind of the nature of a paramilitary, right? Where on the top you have all these like really serious looking dudes, and then as you go further down, it's like, yeah, this is my third cousin removed, and then you read their descriptions, like, yeah, presided over like the burning and rape of a village 3 years ago. So it's like, okay, great. Yeah, literally.
It's funny because he's kind of right.
Musa Juma Digallo, the son of the late Mayor Juma Digallo, the brother of Captain Mohammed Junaid Juma Digallo, and the cousin of Himedi. It's alleged he killed a citizen in Yala and Darfur. This is literally like the like fucking cast and crew that all do the bow at the end of the play, except it's for the Darfur genocide.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
He nailed it.
Way to go.
This is like
Slam
literally
dunk.
better than sports for me, bro.
Slam dunk.
Look, weapons and training. This is like, bro.
For me, this in sports is about
Elite
equal. They're both
snipers.
very fun.
What do you look at? What do you see?
Elite snipers.
Oh yeah, and
Interesting.
also probably there's the Egypt commandos are probably involved here, just because Egypt is doing a lot of that commando work. I would assume, and if they're not involved here, they work together in Somalia
For sure.
Known for possessing elite snipers, the RSF are said to be trained by Russia in suppressing demonstrators, urban warfare, and tasks such as assassinations and torture.
Bro, they probably trained Russia in torture. These guys probably trained Wagner in torture and assassinations. Let me be real about it. Like, that's the thing is, it's like these guys go back. These guys existed before Russia. Think about that. The Russian Federation didn't even exist when these guys were killing people and raping villages.
You know, the fucked up thing with what you just said is like, on top of it possibly being true, it's like you're in this, you know, you're in this whole like military training scenario where these like Russians are going over their like advanced like torture tactics, and like a Janjaweed guy is probably like, well, have you ever just tried, you know, just like smacking their head against the wall multiple times? You got to do it 3 times, not 4. That 4 is too excessive, but you got to do it 3 to let them know that, you know, we mean business. And the Russian guy's probably just like, what
their
the
casual
fuck?
conversations probably revolve around like acts of brutality and things like that, like the casual like war stories that you have. Also, what I was saying the other day is that there's probably a lot of these guys that have been in Ukraine and have been working with Wagner in Ukraine, because there's no reason for Wagner not to contract the RSF.
Also, just to circle back to the point about like Russia training them in protest suppression and whatnot, it kind of goes back to
I
what
can
was
tell you
saying.
right now, they do not use Russian tactics to suppress protesters.
No, and it kind of goes back to what I was saying about how these guys kind of have quite a lot of similarities to the Libyan militias. Something that the Libyan militias do a lot is they kind of like suppress kind of civil disobedience, so to speak, in Libya. These guys did that in 2019, 100%. Like, it may not be verified, but I 100% believe.
Oh, and like I said, there's a great BBC documentary. I think it's BBC.
Torture. Yeah, that fits. I mean, if Wagner is with them, Wagner would be.
I'm gonna grab water, so I'll be right back.
Giving them intel and equipment, right? Yeah, probably not good. Sources of income: mercenary fighters, criminal activity, drugs, smuggling humans, weapons smuggling, gold. I wonder which gold mine Wagner now controls. Wagner gold mine, Sudan. Sudanese mining concessions, stream of gold. Fucking New York Times. Russia is plundering gold in Sudan to boost Putin's war effort in Ukraine. God damn. It really all does link together, doesn't it? Fuck, you know, there's actually a decent possibility that this coup is being in part orchestrated by Russia, because they were worried the civilian government wouldn't allow Wagner to continue its gold smuggling, and the RSF is just a means for them to maintain, the income stream to continue their war in Ukraine. Sounds like a Saudi plane got hit in the airport. Whoa, wait, do you...
Oh, all the planes got bombed in the airport. It's okay. Did I miss anything?
No, you didn't miss anything.
Okay.
It's just him realizing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Move post on that? Saudi plane, were there people in it? Yeah, we'll see how messy of a coup the RSF.
It's not as crazy as you think, Vaush.
Bombed all the planes in the airport got exploded.
Focused. What you need to realize about the airport is that this is just like going to complicate evacuation.
Yeah.
That's the main point you need to realize about the airport, is that it's going to become extremely hard to damn near impossible to evacuate people because the airport is just fucked.
But I will say from people I worked with that like a lot of times you can just land planes right there in the desert. Not very big planes, but
you can.
Depending on the season, you might be able to get south of that city and make a makeshift airstrip and stuff. Real dangerous. But I think
you can do it.
That's the thing is like where the evacuation corridor would probably go through Egypt, or would they go to Djibouti?
It sounds like they're going through Djibouti, because I think we were talking about this earlier, where
they're gonna go out down through Khartoum, and then they're gonna go east on that road.
Well,
it's a highway to Djibouti.
First and foremost, just so the viewers who may not already know that Djibouti is basically just a hub for a bunch of military and Air Force bases. That's basically the whole country.
It's basically the Matrix scene where they need guns, lots of guns, and all the guns come out of the walls and stuff, and they're like picking all the guns they want. That's what it is.
And you can look into it. There's probably Reuters articles. Ground News has probably sourced some news about it from different sources about how like Djibouti is the bases in Djibouti are essentially preparing to accommodate these like evacuations that are going to be coming out of Sudan. So yeah, I would have to guess, just kind of basically based on the trajectory of things, that things are going to go through Djibouti. The evacuations are going to go through Djibouti.
Saudi plane hit by gunfire in Sudan unrest. Oh boy. A passenger plane. Oh boy. To take off from Sudan for Saudi Arabia came under fire on Saturday as deadly fighting rocked Khartoum, the kingdom's flag carrier said. Exposed to gunfire damage. Okay. It's been confirmed that all members of the aircraft's cabin crew have arrived safely at the Saudi embassy in Sudan, the statement said. Okay. Woo! RSF making all the enemies. Yeah, I gotta say, Saudi Arabia.
Technically, Saudi Arabia and Egypt were the closest thing that they had to enemies to begin with, but there are real, like, everyone's kind of on both sides at the same time. They just want things to end. UAE and Libya are more on the side of RSF. Egypt, Saudi Arabia more on the side of the military.
I think it's safe to kind of say in this scenario, it's like it's one of those situations where it's in everyone's best interest for this to calm down as soon as possible. Like all the geopolitical players, it's in their best interest for this to dissipate as soon as humanly possible.
Arabia used RSF soldiers as mercenaries in the Yemen civil war, so they could be supporting
There's
them.
really
if
no
that's the case, then this is
net
even
positive
stupider.
To
like, let's do a coup and
there's no net positive to this continuing, to this becoming like an all-out thing.
Yeah, and that's what I've been telling people who are like convinced that it's like a Wagner-backed coup. It's like, what does Russia have to gain?
Nothing.
Like they already have. What else could they want? They have everything they need there.
It would literally just divert resources. Think about it like this: it would literally, if this were to somehow extend out for a few more months, let's say 6, this would just end up with Russia having to divert resources from Ukraine. This is in no way in Russia's benefit. This isn't in the U.S.'s benefit. This is just more racket. So yeah, this is really in nobody's, the Middle Eastern and Arab powers that are aligned with the different parties, and this is in nobody's benefit for it to continue the way it's continuing.
And that's why also that the people in Sudan also have the best takes, because they're saying fuck both sides. It's all about these two genocidal maniacs scared to lose power because I don't know about the Burhan. Like I'm not sure what he did exactly. Hemedi Moore, yes, war crimes. This guy definitely committed war crimes, but his record is like because he's like more upper crust and stuff. And like he wasn't necessary. He ascended into the military very quickly before he took over. He wasn't like a long-term general.
Burhan's kind of in a situation where it's like if I'm not mistaken, he's kind of the reason why the people-led government didn't really uphold for as long as it did, because
he used the fucking Janjaweed to massacre civilians.
Exactly. So for them. Yeah, the reason the Sudanese people don't like either Hemedi or Burhan is just comes down to the fact that both sides are suppressing the will of the people. That's the point I'm trying to get across.
And it's also again a modern country. There's no reason that they should be in the condition with dictators.
No, they shouldn't.
Egypt either, but that's a different story for another day.
Oh yeah, that's a
business is to antagonize literally every other fucking powerful country in the area. Vaush, RSF will win. RSF proceeds to make a bunch of bad decisions. usually when stuff like this happens, I feel like the coup is only attempted when the coupers are of the impression that they can win, you know? Usually the attacker has the advantage in situations like this because they would only initiate a conflict if they felt confident they could win. You know, it's like a selection bias thing. There are lots of paramilitary groups that want to do a coup. Usually only the ones that feel they can actually go through with it. That being said, this seems like a pretty messy start.
It's because it's not a coup.
Yeah, we established that.
All these links open.
Just had to get it back in.
That's why I wasn't pausing. I was like, we don't need
The
to say it
Egyptian
again.
soldiers, especially. It's credible. Ethiopia. Is
I don't know
building a
what you're
dam
putting your
across the Nile.
headphones in.
Egypt
You are
will
not
have
going to
no
understand the
water.
language
Okay.
that they are speaking.
Just to understand the vibes, dude.
There's a big gun back there, and then like that dude, he had an optic on his gun.
Vaush, this is complete BS. Loads of juntas fail to take over a
Dude,
country.
look at
Why
this
would they
gun
start
back
if
here.
they're
This
going
gun's
to lose?
huge.
Well, I'm not
And
saying
he's on the phone.
every time something like this
This
is
looks like the
attempted,
Chinese
they succeed. But
gun
it's
back
a
here. I'm not
very
sure, though.
large paramilitary that was central in previous military actions, and they're getting backing from Wagner, which has and Russia's like invested economic interest in the success of the RSF. Apparently, I'm not saying every time a coup is attempted they succeed,
Come
but
on,
there is
bro.
a selection bias in favor of groups that actually initiate one. I can't predict the future. I'm just saying. Anyway, I don't understand the antagonization. I understand everything being said here.
If you look at the body language, you can see.
Someone must have asked it in the chat.
I mean, if you analyze the body language, you can see they're all crowded around the person we identified that was an officer earlier.
The guy literally
this guy,
says,
look, he's
the
got
guy-
an optic and bipods on this gun. And like
Yeah,
you can
literally
see the
says,
other
"I'm an
guy is like
officer."
they're all looking at him, and the other guy seems to be in charge. You can kind of see that these two people are kind of the people in charge, the one that's on the ground and the one that's both of them kind of in t-shirts, you know. Anyway, go ahead.
No, you can just see immediately, like I can hear him. He's raising his hand, and he's just like, "I'm the officer," and they tell him to stand up because it's clear they just want to talk to the person in charge.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, John, you probably know more about this. What's the importance if you're the John Joweed of talking to an officer in this scenario? Like, is it just information?
Well,
Like,
first of all, as far as value, as a human life value, the officers are going to have way more value. You want to, especially if you're like, especially if you want to like have some like serious leverage, then you want the officers, right? The rest of the guys
Right.
don't really matter. They're there for human shields and stuff. But you know, they'll probably like give these guys water and stuff. You know, they'll probably have bug juice, bring it out in the igloo cooler, and have some bug juice for them.
Igloo cooler.
The RSF is claiming they've taken the presidential palace.
It doesn't. Okay, now this I want to be clear that the presidential palace, nobody's there. There is no president of Sudan. The other guy goes to like a military bunker. They don't fuck with the government because they don't care about the government. They're dictators.
From what? Is there like a tweet? Where from? RSF claimed the Egyptians surrendered to them. RSF claims to have conquered all of Africa. True. Both sides claim the opposite thing. We can't know for now. Yeah. I don't know how much like immediate high quality journalistic information we're going to get out of there, right? The Egyptian soldiers thing is really embarrassing, though. The Egyptian authorities have not yet released any comments on the matter. I would be very interested in seeing what Egypt says in response to this. Like,
and keep in mind,
this is the kind of thing.
This is really early on too, so the information is limited that he gets.
Countries usually have to respond to. Can you imagine if there was video footage of a group of like 100 American soldiers having to surrender to, I don't know, some like
It would happen. It would happen if this type of thing. If we're in a country like this, right? Especially like think about a country like Australia, right? We're like we are actually Saudi Arabia is even better because we probably have airstrips that will resupply our planes there or something like that. Israel, maybe we would resupply planes there. Iraq is actually a great example because that's definitely happening there. There's cross communication. So imagine if the Iraqi military came on to like, so that was kind of an active war. But anyway, the point is like if you're resupplying in that airport, you're kind of not there to like, you don't have your like guns on you, you're pilots, you know? It's like
Air crew,
Right.
yeah.
you know, it's not like your district to like guard this airport. Like you're basically almost like in a civilian scenario at that point. What are you supposed to do? Of course you're going to surrender. That's the best thing to do. You want to get along with it. Like the officer as well is going to be directing the Americans, you know, and like doing negotiations and stuff like that. And the Pentagon would like instantly be on the phone. They don't fuck around. And because they're not terrorists, they would be open to negotiations. So
This is all true.
petty coup attempts, you know, in some.
You described it as weird, and yes, it is weird, and that's why it's so hard for me to find a comparable scenario to it. It is weird, but it makes sense to surrender in this
I
case.
mean, no, I think the comparable scenario you came up with is actually perfect. Like, say, just to like even make it more specific, this kind of stuff happens in Syria pretty frequently. Now, it's not like hostage scenarios.
Oh
but
yeah,
we're-
even
we're
like
ta-
we
we're-
can't engage with Russia, right?
Yeah, we're talking about like missiles hitting the outskirts or air bases from like different either like Shia paramilitary groups in Iraq or something hitting air bases in Syria or air bases in Iraq, etc. And there's not really much pushback. You know, it's not like the U.S. is gonna go completely gung ho because they got hit with like a homemade missile made by some group called like the fucking the victory of Imam Ali. Like it's just
Yeah, and like when the
these
U.S. has a
scenarios,
tactical advantage to hit a target, they're just going to hit the target regardless. You
Exactly.
know, it's not going to be like some sort of like give and take payback thing.
like just look at look at the green zone, for example.
Oh yeah, it
Like
gets shelled
again,
constantly.
it's not a hostage situation, but it gets you know there's missiles that hit in and around it a lot. So yeah,
That was the big thing is Muqtada Sadr, his rockets could hit the green zone from where he was. And
Yeah,
so
they
that was a
could.
big deal in the Iraq war. That's what gave him so much power and leverage throughout the entire war. And that's why we had to negotiate him. Like, he literally had a gun to us the entire time. We could not operate in that war without working with Muqtada Sadr the whole time. And we
Yep.
were still fighting him the whole time.
Like, yeah, wars start over stuff like this.
No, not
Sudan's Joint
really,
Chief
but
of
yeah.
Staff say there will be no negotiations or dialogue before the dissolution of the Rapid Support Forces. That makes sense. They wouldn't take surrender after
Quick
stuff like
quick
this.
thing though, that I kind of want to add on. He did use the term like it's embarrassing, and I understand why he uses that term. Anytime like you know, for example, just to kind of put into perspective, American citizens get killed or taken hostage in like Mexico or like some Caribbean country.
There's the Tora massacre. What's it called?
It's like Tora Bora.
It's the one where Tora Bora was Afghanistan. That's when Bin Laden got away. It's when 4 special forces got killed by ISIS in West Africa.
That was in
Tonga.
Niger, wasn't it? That was in Niger.
The Tonga interview. Jack, you're muted. I think you're saying yes.
It's the video where they get ambushed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it Tonga though? Do you?
It's something like that.
Yeah.
I'm not 100%.
The whole reason it's embarrassing is because these videos are out in the public, and the public in Egypt sees it, and they're like, "What the fuck? Why are like soldiers getting like captured?" And they're in this like scenario where they're like sitting on the ground and they got their hands up, and you know the public in Egypt might expect like a stronger response from the government or something, not quite realizing how these things work. Kind of similar with when it happens to U.S. citizens in Mexico or when it happens to U.S. special forces in Syria or the Sahel. It's like the public sees these things, like Benghazi, for example, right?
Benghazi was a different story, though.
It is a bit of a different story, but
I would also say that with the US, the extra advantage is that we have a lot more enemies that want to make propaganda advantages and stuff. There's no real interest to like defame Egypt here. But if you remember, I sent you those 2 real funny tweets where they were just insulting Sisi for inaction and saying like he's a coward.
And it's like a pretty LCC thing to do. Like he's just like he's not like I don't know how to put it. He's not like a very like fucking off the walls type of guy. He's more calculated than people realize.
Yeah, he's more of like the like Soprano style.
Yeah, he's more calculated than people seem to realize. And again, my point being is it's like there's like strategic things here that go on with the government that the public is just going to outrage about. And I should say like the Egyptian public is pretty pissed off about this kind of thing. There's like a lot of like kind of like patriotic brouhaha type.
I was about to say probably nationalist type stuff.
Yeah, going on about this when it's like a lot of these people don't realize kind of like the situation. It's definitely bad, but it's not the way they think it is, if that makes sense. Again, it's kind of comparable to, like I was just saying, like when something happens to US citizens or US soldiers in like a foreign country, it's like you're always going to have these responses where it's like, we need to go in there and we need to like go in guns blazing and blow everything the fuck up. It's like, no, that's not what we're gonna do, dude. That's not how this works. That's not how geopolitics works.
Even like in our private chats, I was like, honestly, Egypt has every reason to bomb them into the tarmac, and it would be better for the world if they did, just because like these guys suck, dude. It would be much better to kill them.
They're horrible, but again, it's just like people, they're trying to be diplomatic about it, and that's the thing is like, as I was saying earlier, that John Jaweed realizes that they need to also be diplomatic about this. They're like, listen, we're not going to hurt anyone, nothing like that. We're willing to negotiate with Cairo, etc. That's just my main point. I'm just trying to like give some background information for any viewer who may not like quite understand like why it's not the greatest idea to just go in and glass everything. Or
Sudan
why governments
TV
think
broadcast
it's not the
taken off
greatest
air
idea.
after loud bangs. Jesus.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم مشاهدينا الأكارم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته نحييكم من
Al Jazeera, one of the girls reporting for Al Jazeera was right next to the presidential palace on a roof when they were talking to her.
Shit. Is she all right?
Yeah, no, she was like, no, I'm fine. It's cool.
She was like, that probably looked fucking sick.
Dude, it was sick. And like I think I'm following her, but I want to make sure it's the right one. And like it's funny because you look at Al Jazeera's footage from Sudan, and randomly you'll hear people like hitting dial buttons on every call-in that I've heard. And I'm like, it's only over the phone, like auditory ones. Like randomly,
She was like, Jared, did we get all that footage? Okay, let's get the fuck out of here. We got.
They'll be talking and like as the person's talking, you hear
the
boop,
subtitles
like
and,
somebody hit like 4 or 5 on their
everything
phone.
else,
Like
the
it
fact
sounds
that
like
you
they
can't
hit their
understand-
face
well, I
against the
can't
phone,
understand as
but it's
much.
happened with everyone,
The,
and they haven't
like,
addressed it. So I'm like, it's got to be
nervous
something with the phone line,
metaphorically
right?
dabbing your forehead energy is conveyed effectively. It's very obvious. Even if you were given no subtitles, I feel like you could very obviously tell from how disheveled he looks. Like, okay, hi,
doing body language.
we're here in the capital,
مما يوحي بأن هنالك وضعا أمنيا استثنائيا في العاصمة الخرطوم.
Oh, I heard Hamati.
في داخل الهيئة العامة للإذاعة والتلفزيون في تلفزيون السودان وفي الإذاعة السودانية الآن الأحوال هادئة ونحاول أن نتواصل مع بعض المحللين لنقف على أبعاد ما يحدث الآن وما نستمع.
Jesus.
It's like all the doors are slamming. It's the crew running out.
Wow,
He's
that's
like, everything's calm. His producers just running out of the studio.
Jesus
Wait,
Christ.
is that what that was? What was
He
it?
kept talking.
It was just like doors slamming because people are evacuating. He's saying
Holy
everything is
shit.
calm. We're going off the air and we're getting the fuck out of here. So I'm just
That's
laughing
hilarious.
because you hear all these
That's like-
doors slamming while he's telling people to be calm because people are just getting the fuck out of the studio.
That's like
funny.
the one of, like you know how in End of the World movies when the
Bro,
fucking
Dawn
like,
of the
the
Dead.
meteor, like when something bad is really about to happen, is like about to happen, like an earthquake's going on, like everyone in the TV studio is just like getting the fuck out, and then there's just like the TV presenters left at
It's
the
just
end.
the
and you're
anchor,
like,
yeah.
well, what do we do, guys? Like,
And they just, it's always funny when they just, instead of actually doing what they would normally do, they just go crazy and start doing whack shit. It's the best. I like if I was on TV
he
and it
had
was doing it at the same time, I'd just do whack shit. I'd say the wildest shit.
بيت
Just
بيت
cause.
دار دار زنقة زنقة فرد فرد
دار دار.
didn't know when he started his broadcast that there were RSF forces at the building. Like, he only started talking a minute before the door got kicked down. It's not like this would be a one floor, like you get in from the outside. Like, he had to know there were people right outside. I hope he's okay.
Yeah, no.
Journalists are usually
In
killed
all seriousness, why did he continue?
Well, he was saying that we're going off the air, but also like a lot of TV stations, they have multiple crew inside. They normally, like, you know, whenever they bomb like a Palestinian like press office, it's because one floor is like doing this kind of shit. You know, and like they'll bomb the entire building, including the Al Jazeera offices, because like they want to make jihadi mouse cartoons on like one floor of the building. A lot of that shit goes on, so it's better to evacuate the entire press office. But like I said, Al Jazeera had people right next to the presidential palace when they were like, it was after it had already been captured, though. And like I was like, this girl's hardcore. And honestly, they should have kept on her, because then it was just fucking hitting buttons in the phone after that. And like she was actually cool and like actually seemed to know what she was talking about. And then they had someone on there next to us saying, "This is out there, Muslim Brotherhood." And it's like, come on, man. Who put this guy on the phone?
you know, in coups for obvious reasons. Maybe he started because they knew they were coming. Well, yeah, I mean, if ever journalism was important, it would be under circumstances such as these. Who are the good guys in this? There aren't any good guys, but the RSF is almost certainly the worst guy. The RSF began the Civil War because they didn't want the government to be turned over to civilians. I doubt whatever would have come of it would have been a democracy, but it probably would have been better than what the RSF wants for it. The RSF is also Wagner aligned, and it's probable that this is at least in part being caused by a desire by Russia and Wagner to maintain a supply of income out of the gold mines.
Yes, I was about to say, I like make sure he wraps this back to the gold, because that's very important. But
okay, I didn't realize he was going to wrap it back to the gold. I thought he was going to say like some shit about this being the cut. Okay, yeah, no, he's doing good. He did well.
The connection to Wagner is a little too, because I understand, because it's Africa. Wagner overthrows governments in Africa all the time, but there's different. Actually, you know, this part of Africa might split off from the rest. You know, I've been seeing that going on. Apparently, the Earth is just going to split in half there, and it's been happening year by year.
Okay.
Yeah, apparently.
What other information? This Twitter thread has a lot of info. Hold on.
Better be my thread.
Paramilitaries announced they've taken control of several strategic military sites in Al Fashir, including Signal Corps, the Medical Corps, and the airport of Al Fashir.
So that's the thing. Is like I don't write threads like where it would be a technical like that. I write them being like I basically just be like, here's what you need to know, and I just like keep it in like one tweet.
Air Force MiG-29 M2s deployed to Sudan have been captured by the opposition forces.
I'm never gonna. I literally said on my tweet, I said, "Here's a MiG shooting a blasty," because I'll say like I won't say like what type of guns they are or like what type of planes. It's like, so somebody like commented on my thread, they're like, "I liked every part except for the use of blasty," and I'm like, "Yeah, you know, shooties and blasties, standard weapons of war."
That's so funny.
It's like I'm not like a gun expert, you know, like I do politics, man. Like.
I don't even know where the Sudanese military is. Doesn't mean they can necessarily fly it, but they can keep the Sudanese military from flying it.
Bro, there's an Egyptian flag on that plane's tail. Come on. We already figured out that Egyptians are there, though, so it's okay.
Palace. Yeah, I think I don't think we can get any more useful information from this by looking right now. We're going to have to wait for more time. I have a feeling the next 48 hours at least are just going to be constant broadcasts from the RSF and from the Sudanese military, back and forth, going like, we have reconquered Sudan, we have conquered, no, we conquered Sudan, like back and forth like that, you know.
they're kind of tweeting their way through it. The RSF has been like tweeting their way through it, and it's very funny because they're on Twitter and like posting videos and stuff. And I can't read any of it. And they're using their blue check marks, so their statements are way too long for me to care about reading. I don't want to hear it from them.
Send me the tweets you don't understand because fucking.
Oh no, I could translate them with the translate button. It's just that they're using if you pay for Twitter,
I don't know why. But the
it's
Google
okay.
Translate on Twitter is like broken.
Yeah,
it's nowhere near as good as Google Translate itself.
The thing is that the when you pay for Twitter now, it lets you expand past the character limit. So instead of, and that's why I like Twitter, is because I don't have time to write shit, you know? I'm not a writer. And that's why I like Twitter, is it just gets to the fucking point. I don't want to read shit all day. I don't want to write shit all day. But for them, because they're paying for it, they have these expansive statements, and it's just going on and on and on and on. And it's like, bro, we know that this is written by the UAE, you know? Like, we know that these like guys aren't like out here like writing like press statements constantly, man.
And it's always like the worst people who use them too. Like, you get people who make these massive statements. It's just like, I don't care about your normal tweets. Why would I read this?
Well, this is specifically just them tweeting through the conflict. And like constantly giving these like statements, and it's like, bro, like nobody cares what you have to say. Like, just go home.
Yeah, just quit.
So I can't really say. Sudan is denying rebel claims of taking buildings, by the way. We have no reason to believe that transparency will be offered by either side in the conflict. So there's not.
It's been pretty transparent,
but
we just
there's
don't
no
know the
there's no reasonable expectation of transparency though, and that's what he's saying.
Yeah,
that's a good statement.
Yeah, we just, and also it's you can kind of just look at this point because it's such a contained conflict. You like know who's in control of what.
They're rebelling against what would have been a nominally civilian government.
Close enough.
This isn't really his forte, so I'm actually impressed
Very
that
about refugee situation, South Sudan.
What he's done with this.
Well, South Sudan is South Sudan.
Yeah, don't South Sudan doesn't matter.
Do you mean in the south of Sudan, or do you mean South Sudan? How based would the civilian government have been, though? Probably not very based. Will the U.S. support the pro-democracy side? I don't think the United States is willing to really get involved in this. You know, this is a relatively like low-level conflict. It's like Sudan. How many?
I would say low-intensity conflict.
It's high consequence conflict.
Yeah, there's a lot of consequences for people that it matters to. But as far as the United States, why would they care? I mean, they obviously don't want Sudan to collapse, but like they don't care what really happens here.
Let's give a shit about Sudan.
See,
if we
they want to hit play, like talking about how Americans don't even give a shit about Sudan. It's true because we don't have stakes in the gold or oil. We have some refinery stakes, but it's more to do with Egypt and Saudi Arabia.
Involved in this, it would probably be us just saying like, you know, we denounce the actions of the RSF, or maybe even just like total neutrality.
Probably total neutrality. I haven't looked. Because I don't care what the U.S. has to say about it.
France's backyard, yeah.
No, not France's backyard. Well, that's the other side of Africa.
That's the other side,
not good, folks. Not good.
And then I don't think...
It's all about water, either Ethiopia
or
Egypt.
No. Different conflict.
No. People
I
keep
say it loud and clear. They'll blow up that dam.
Unrelated shit kind of irks me. I'm not even gonna lie.
War against Ethiopia. But okay, I don't think this is about a war between Egypt.
So the reason why is that there's this real life lore video, right? Then this real life lore video, it kind of amplifies how big of a deal the dam is, right? But the thing is like there's obviously negotiations in place. It's going to fill slowly over time. Egypt's not going to get fucked over in water. Everyone's going to just be fine with it because they negotiated it together. They're not like at war with each other.
Yeah, that's
Ethiopia could fuck over Egypt with the dam, but they don't because if they did, guess what's going to happen?
I say it loud and clear. They'll blow up that dam.
Trump got it figured out, and we all can figure it out.
Here's and just like you said, the whole issue with the dam right now is Egypt just wants some kind of guarantee that if Ethiopia goes through some kind of dry season or drought, which are not the same thing, but if they go through some kind of dry season or drought, that there's going to be like some sort of guarantee in place in the negotiations that an amount of the water will flow to Egypt. That's all they want.
Yeah,
Like,
and they do
that's
say
all
that
the
in the
agreement
video that
comes
people
down
are
to at this
so
point.
obsessed with, and that's why they have this notion is because where this comes from, where the dam is the focus, is this real life lore video really amplifies.
And
here's
the other thing
the
people
tensions are.
here's the second thing people don't realize about the dam is that it's a hydroelectric dam. It's not an irrigation dam. The water is simply being reused. It's not being like it's not going anywhere. It's not being used for agriculture. It's not like the Kamal Ataturk dam between
they're
Iraq
not
and
weaponizing water like Turkey
Syria
does.
and
Or
Turkey,
China.
for example.
Yeah.
It's just
They could,
it's
but
just
it's
a
not like
hydroelectric
that.
dam. They could, but it doesn't serve their purpose. The reason they want this water is to bring new electricity into Ethiopia. They don't want it to like water crops, you know. So the
and
water's
also,
just
if
going
we look
in and
at,
out, basically.
and I think they're using a 10-year projection, right? Because if they fill it in 5 years, it'll cut too much water from Egypt. So they're really, Ethiopia is really doing Egypt a huge solid with how much they've delayed and how much they're going to, like, because you need the water to hold back to fill the dam, right? So, but the thing is that if we look at how I say East Africa as a powerhouse, this dam is going to be really, really important. We don't want Ethiopia burning coal power and stuff like that. When they're industrializing, we want them using hydroelectricity and things like this.
Yeah,
so
like
it's very good.
This is the other thing that like then there's the third thing. It's like the business aspect of things. Ethiopian and Egyptian energy companies have been making deals throughout this whole process, like at negotiations and whatnot. They've been cutting deals about solar energy, about hydroelectric energy. There's also like Egyptian, like, you know, like corporate people, like business people, like billionaires who have invested money into the dam. Like we're talking like billionaires who were in the pocket of the Egyptian government who have invested money
because it's
into the
Ethiopia. The
Ethiopian
dam is Italian backed as well, so
yeah,
that's
and
awesome.
that's
Where do you see
yeah,
Italy nowadays? You know,
that's just the thing. It's more of like I guess you could say, like, if you really want to give it it's like a fierce like negotiation as opposed to like an all-out war scenario. It's not gonna, you know, like, I don't know. I just don't like this narrative being pushed that like in 20 years, Egypt and Ethiopia are gonna go to war over a dam. That's not gonna happen.
If it is, and your conspiracism is warranted, then I apologize. But you've been like all caps spamming the Ethiopia-Egypt war theory for a while. Right now, this is just a Sudanese conflict, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
if I was watching his chat, I would see if anyone was in there, be like Muslim Brotherhood.
Google Ethiopia.
Stop it!
Maybe I will.
Tell him to fuck off, Vaush. Move on.
Yeah, how long have you been talking about that? Are you in Egypt? Are you like committed to the? Dude, that's all you've been talking about. Oh my god.
I didn't know you could do that.
Egypt needs to conquer Sudan to invade Ethiopia because of the dam. Egypt can just use cruise missiles.
And I say it loud and clear, they'll blow up that dam.
We'll see how things play out, okay? They're very concerned. Yeah, so I see.
And
Ethiopia and Egypt are going to war. Sure, many such cases. There's actually a very big anarchist movement in Sudan, by the way.
Of course there is.
That sounds nice.
Of course.
The Sudanese resistant committees or neighborhood.
Not like you would
are
care about
informal
anarchist
grassroots
movements in this
neighborhood
part of the
networks
world,
Sudanese
but
residents that started organizing civil disobedience campaigns against the government of Omar al-Bashir in 2013 and became a major organized network playing a key role during the Sudanese revolution. That's nice. I didn't know anything about this.
okay. What do we think? Left it on saying it was a coup in a civil war. Other than that,
it was fine. Relatively well deduced. If you want to put it that way.
You did decently. You did pretty good.
I think you did all right. Alrighty.